And I think Outlier actually is one of the the first record I'm happy with from A to Z, which I cannot say about other records. I love, I mean, having worked with Bob Rock, the first guy, I'm a producer who did the first Kingdom Come
Well,
record
yeah,
with
that's
us.
that's the one thing I wanted to ask you.
Sorry. Okay. Okay.
That was the one thing I wanted to ask you is Bob Rock. I mean, you had 4 albums, two with Stone Fury, two with Kingdom Come. You worked
Mm,
with Johns, which is he's got a great history working with L.A. Guns, some other bands, also Led Zeppelin. You worked with
mhm.
Bob Rock, and you also worked with Keith Olsen as well. These are three big producers, engineers coming out of that particular era and genre of music. So for your first 4 albums, you must have had a huge, basically just so much different ways of doing things. Was that something that you said, you know what? I've been around these three guys. I've learned quite a lot from these three guys, how they were doing it, and I think I could probably do it as well. Do you think that had something to do with it?
I think what I definitely learned is that meeting the right person, and that counts for everything in your life, whether it's your woman or your friend, or your producer or your bandmates or whatever the hell it is. Meeting the right person at the right time at the right place is making all the difference. Keith Olsen did a fantastic job for Whitesnake. It was not functioning with Kingdom Come whatsoever. Bob Rock was heaven sent. He was, until working with Kingdom Come, he was just an engineer plucking chords for Bon Jovi records and shit. And then Derek Schulman, he recommended Bob Rock to me. Him and I met, we got on, I mean, immediately. Wonderful guy on a private and on a personal level, as well as on a musical, creative recording level. It was like, thank you, God, for sending me Bob Rock. And once again, that chemistry, that moment, that spirit of a moment is exactly what the first record was adapting and capturing, and what people were kind of like being able to hear and feel. And I think, yeah, I mean, again, that's what makes all the difference. Imagine the Beatles not having been produced by George Martin. They would have never become the Beatles the way we know them today. Or Led Zeppelin without John Bonham. I mean, he didn't write anything, but his drumming made Led Zeppelin. He was Led Zeppelin's backbone, you know what I mean? So it's so important who you're working with. It's not just the writer, you know what I mean? It makes all the difference, and it kind of makes me sad sometimes that whether it was not meant to be, or maybe I was just blind. I have no idea, but I have never really found the perfect match. I felt so comfortable with who knew where the song has to go without having to fight or argue about it all day long. So I was learning forcefully early on, having to do things on my own to get anything done. So that's how I ended up being like the kind of like turning it into a one-man show. I'm not particularly proud about it, but it's just something which happened. You know what I mean? And I mean, take whatever here. What's his name? Steve Jobs from Apple. Some people love him and some hate his guts, but he had a vision. So you got to respect that. It's wrong or right, who's to say? You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Exactly. So after Hands of Time, you pretty much pack it up, you leave the States, and you head back over to Germany, and that's pretty much where you've been working from since. And for a lot of people out there that are familiar with the first two Kingdom Come albums, maybe the third one, I'm going to have to sit there and say you really need to dig deeper into this catalog because there's some great material outside of those first 3 albums that you put out. And, some of it doesn't all work for me because I know you're experimenting a lot with some different sounds and everything. But for me, that's the genius of, I guess, what you could say Lenny Wolf is because you're playing with different sounds, seeing how it works. I mean, have these albums each been kind of like a playground for you to try different sounds and different things?
Oh, Matt, I mean, first of all, thanks, Matt, for even bringing it up because those kind of interviews happen on a very, very rare occasion, and I'm very I'm honored by you taking the time, letting me like talk about and ramble on about all the stuff. But that's exactly what it's all about. Take the record Perpetual, for example, which I recorded in I don't know when was it, like 2000 or something. I don't even know. It's been too many.
2004.
Yeah, exactly. So Perpetual is actually an unbelievably depressing record. It has nothing to do with let's, grab a beer and let's party. It's the total opposite, but it's something I had to do. I was sitting in my little home studio, just getting used to Logic Pro and experimenting the hell out of sounds and building my own sounds. And it's like bearing a baby. It's like 9 months, you're hammering yourself with vitamins, hoping something good comes out. And I know that, especially from a production point of view, there are a lot of mistakes I made. I mean, some guitars sound very thin, or the drum are a bit stiff. And so lots of things I don't want to say I regret, but I wish I would have done a little different. But that's just what it is. But judging Kingdom Come, or like putting Kingdom Come in just one particular draw, would certainly be a mistake. It's not just Get It On. It's not just Outlier, which is the latest record. No, I mean, if you are interested in finding out, all I can say is please dive deeper into this, because the variety is so unbelievably big. I even myself get confused.
Well, for me, I mean, you come out with Hands of Time, which I actually thought had some really good stuff on that album. It was really unique. And I'm not going to lie to you. When you came out with Bad Image, I was like, I took a step back going, what the hell is this? It was just totally a shock for me. But I'm going to tell the listeners out there, you got to step back. You got to listen to the album. There's some really good gems on that album. But for me, the Twilight Cruiser and Master 7 albums, those two albums for me are actually some of my favorite Kingdom Come albums, because you have some of the older element in there along with some of the newer stuff in there as well. I mean, was that where you were refining your groove? Because I'll say this, with those two albums, it's a really kind of like a classic type of Kingdom Come type of sound, and then you have the two independent and Perpetual, which you mentioned, which go in a completely different direction. It's almost like we're getting Lenny Wolf's kind of moods a little bit here. Is that what it's pretty much all about?
If I did understand your question right, again, I have no particular master plan when I'm writing. Again, I'm just a regular dude who happens to play a few instruments and has a creative vision, if you want to put it this way. But then again, when I'm sitting in my car, which is, by the way, the only place I listen to music, is like cranking it up to 11 and just like the German Autobahn becoming my fucking Twilight Zone. That's why I'm like on a so-called pill. And there are different phases and different bands I need to get my energy from. And I'm in particular times. Oh God, my English sucks. I'm sorry about it.
It's all right.
But for example, there are moments. I'm driving, 270 kilometers. What's that in miles? I don't know, but it's very fast. So, and then I listen to, for example, Rammstein. I listen to the very early Depeche Mode. Then right around the corner comes Livewire with Bon Scott. Then suddenly I also listen to old archive like Cosmic Gates. Muse suddenly comes around the corner. Of course, Zeppelin, Metallica is always on the list. Even Massive Attack, who are known for just spacey shit. I mean, they have nothing to do with rock. But all those elements, like Depeche Mode is the industrial side. Massive Attack is the space shit. Rammstein is there is no bigger, larger guitar wall than for Rammstein. Then you got I'm a riff guy. I dig riffs, That's why I like, for example, Audioslave or Soundgarden. By the way, I love Chris Cornell's voice, unbelievable voice. So I'm into riffs, and I like very monotone, melancholic grooves, for example. That's what Twilight Cruiser for example, is all about. It's just one industrial figure, keypad, or whatever you want to call it, going throughout the whole song and just putting different colors on it and do my suffering. That's basically what it is. And some may call it, okay, now Lenny's on a Pink Floyd trip. But whatever it is, people are hearing and experiencing sounds and songs differently than I do myself. But yeah, again, there's no master plan. It just pops out, and whatever it became, that's what it is.
And for me, I mean, that's what makes that whole catalog after those first three albums so unique and interesting, is because you could put one of those albums on if you haven't heard it in a while, and you could pull out a song or two and go, you know what, this is really good. And there's a lot of material there. Like I said, I'll say it again, that a lot of fans out there need to go and revisit. And because, I mean, Kingdom Come is so much more. And you have all these textures and sounds. You mentioned Depeche Mode. You mentioned Pink Floyd. You mentioned the Beatles, AC/DC. It's all there. It's like you're writing from everything that you're hearing and you're making it your own. I mean, for me, just the one track on Master 7 that I think is just a phenomenal song that any Kingdom Come fan needs to listen to. It's Can't Fake Affection. That's a great track. So can you tell me a little bit more about that track? 'Cause it's one of my favorite songs that you have done.
It's funny. You brought it up. Again, when I start writing, on a very rare occasion, I had any particular idea what I want to do. Sometimes I'm sitting just on my sofa, like, okay, then I hear some or see some dumbass commercial, and there's a particular groove suddenly coming like around the corner. I don't know, okay, let's buy ice cream, whatever. And there's a groove. I jump out of my sofa, run to the studio. Okay, I want to do something with this particular groove. Then 2 weeks later, that groove doesn't exist anymore, but something came out of it because I keep inspiring myself while I'm working on something. It's like a journey through sound. Basically, that's what it is. And Can't Fake Affection, I just kind of was imagining a very reverb, beautiful, chorused out acoustic guitar with a nice rhythm pattern and just doing something different. But it's very hard to put my finger on it now and saying that's exactly what I wanted to do, because I can't even put it in words. It just pops out of me. Call it talent, or call it like I was on a mission of God, or like some guys build computers. I mean, I would never understand how they can do that, but they got this particular antenna, they get the talent, they get the vision to do that stuff, you know. So sorry that I can't give you any more particular or detailed answer, but
No, you know what? It's okay, because basically you gave me the answer I wanted. Is you write from the moment. And that's what
yeah.
comes up. It's not a matter of you sitting down going, this is what I want to do. And there's a lot of musicians out there that go, you know what, I want to write the next great ballad. I want to write the next great rock song, or whatever it may be. And you know what, I think when you sit down and your main goal is to do something specific, it never comes out the way you want it to, or it isn't as good as it possibly could be. For me,
Absolutely, yeah. And often songs you thought, oh, this is gonna like break me now, become the least interesting songs of all. And then songs like you never thought would do anything, like for example Get It On, which was just a riff and some all right, get it on, but it was a vibe and it just worked for that particular time. There was a vacuum for it and it just worked. And what did I want to say? Something else, something really smart I wanted to say now, but I just forgot. Okay, so maybe later. Yeah, but hallelujah.
Because really, it is organic. I mean, I don't know how many bands you could go back. You could go back through Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. I mean, go through the '70s and into the '80s. And how many times do you have artists who have this one track or these songs that became huge hits, and then you find out, well, that song was never going to be on the album. It was an afterthought, or we just put it on there, or this came together really quickly, and we figured let's throw it on there, and it becomes this huge hit. I mean, I think that's probably the joy of music. And just about anything that people do from a creative side is you just never know what you have until you put it out there. And
Absolutely, Matt. Sorry for interrupting you, but I mean, just think about the Beatles, for example. If their first record would have been "Strawberry Fields Forever," they wouldn't have sold one record because it was far too out there, far too cosmic, like hard to understand, far too difficult to digest. But they started out with "She Loves You," 8 Days a Week, "Help," all that great pop stuff, and they were able to take their fan base to grow with them. And that's something very wonderful to happen when you can take your huge fan base to grow with you on a musical level, meaning becoming more mature, more adventurous, a bit more, I don't know how to put it, not as lighthearted. It's not all about getting laid and getting wasted, but everything at its right time. So yeah, and that's what it is. So in our case, obviously, we don't have like 20 million people following us, but it is certainly a time travel, and and that's what it should be for every a serious artist who wants to grow. I guess that's basically what it comes down to, right?
for